He was the kid who could turn heartbreak into hooks in under a minute, freestyling whole songs off the top, bleeding real emotion over 808s. In just a couple years, Juice WRLD went from a suburban Chicago teenager recording on his phone to a global voice for a generation. And then, just as fast, he was gone. This is the tragic story of Juice WRLD. Gerard Anthony Higgins was born on December 2nd, 1998, in Chicago, and raised mainly in the south suburbs after his parents split when he was 3. His mom, Carmela Wallace, kept a tight religious home and limited rap in the house, so Gerard soaked up rock and pop he found through video games like Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk, while also taking music lessons, piano first, then guitar and more. By the time he reached Homewood Flossmoor High School, he had an ear for melody, an obsession with music, and a mind that held on to songs like Diaries.
Hey, I was hooping, I was playing baseball, I was good at both at the time. But I was also like freestyling, and I was really into music. Like I used to damn near worship the shit like I was into music.
Those early years shaped the contrast that defined him later. A hip-hop star with emo, pop-punk, and rock DNA. He wasn't a typical industry plant story, he literally started on his phone. In high school, he recorded tracks and dropped them on SoundCloud, first under the name Juice Kid, a nod to Tupac's film Juice. His earliest uploads, including a song called Forever in 2015, were rough but honest, and that honesty is what caught people first. Soon he switched to the name Juice WRLD, World, as in taking over the world, and kept flooding SoundCloud with melodic, confessional records that sounded more like late-night journal entries than traditional rap songs. Chicago bloodlines run deep in his story. While Gerard wasn't from G Herbo and Lil Bibby's block, the city's east side movement around NLMB, often translated as Never Leave My Brothers, would become part of his circle through the business side and friendships. Bibby, already transitioning from rapper to label head, helped spearhead Greta Productions and would soon play a key role in Juice's rise. As for G Herbo, he spoke in interviews about meeting Juice and the bond that formed, two Chicago stars from different corners, connected through music and mutual respect. That bridge between Herbo, Bibby, and Juice reflected how Chicago's scenes can intersect. Drill roots and melodic emo rap crossing paths and lifting each other up. The studio became Gerard's second home during those years. He developed quickly, freestyling entire songs, and by late 2017 and early 2018, the spark turned into a blaze. All Girls Are the Same, powered by Nick Mira's melancholic production and a viral Cole Bennett video, exploded online. Labels moved fast. Within weeks, Juice WRLD reportedly inked a multi-million-dollar joint venture with Interscope via Grade A, and his momentum surged into Lucid Dreams, the heartbreak anthem that would become a generation's breakup soundtrack and peak at No. 2 on the Hot 100. This run set up his debut album, Goodbye and Good Riddance, which crystallized his sound, catchy, vulnerable, melodic, and brutally candid. Musically, Juice was a blender. He'd cite hip-hop heroes like Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Chief Keef, Travis Scott, and Eminem, but he also loved pop-punk and rock, Blink-182, Billy Idol, and more, absorbing their energy into his cadences and hooks. That fusion made his records feel familiar and new at once, letting him slide between rap radio and alternative playlists without changing who he was. You could hear Cudi's emotional transparency, Kanye's 808s era melodics, and pop-punk angst, all refracted through Juice's gift for melody. But the same honesty that made the music hit also revealed a darker thread. Juice was open about drugs from a young age, lean in middle school, pills in his teens, coping mechanisms that became part of his persona and his pain. In a 2018 Vulture interview, he even talked about how Future's music influenced him to try lean, later telling Future that directly. Future publicly wrestled with that reality afterward.
I ever heard by Future was Ain't No Way Around It. The second song I've ever heard by Future is Dirty Sprite, off the first Dirty Sprite mixtape. And that shit had me wanting to sip lean at like 11, 12 years old, bro.
Yeah.
So, I ain't know if that was what I was really finna be doing, but...
Songs like Lean With Me were both confession and cautionary tale, ending with a hotline message in its video. Fans heard the struggle in real time, and it's part of why so many connected to him so deeply. The ascent didn't slow. He teamed with Future for the WRLD on Drugs project in 2018, then followed with his first #1 album, Death Race for Love, in 2019, all while touring relentlessly and stacking features. Through it all, his Chicago ties kept showing up, collaborations with Herbo's Circle, respect from Bibby, and a seat at the table with the city's new class, even though his lane was sonically different from drill. Juice was proof that Chicago could produce a superstar who felt as at home on a Lyrical Lemonade upload as on a mainstream festival stage. The tragedy came on December 8th, 2019. After landing at Chicago Midway, authorities searched his plane and found drugs and firearms. During that search, Juice went into medical distress and was given Narcan. He later died at the hospital. The Cook County Medical Examiner ruled the cause of death as acute oxycodone and codeine intoxication, opioids often linked to cough syrup and pills, confirming what his music and interviews had long foreshadowed. The substances he wrestled with helped end his life at 21. The details were a gut punch, but not a surprise to those who'd heard his pleas buried in the melodies. His impact didn't end there. In the aftermath, his mother launched efforts to support youth mental health and addiction, while his team and friends carried on his catalog. For Chicago, Juice WRLD stands beside Herbo and Lil Bibby as part of a lineage. The city's story told through different sounds, the same grit, and that NLMB spirit of never leaving your brothers. For fans everywhere, he became the voice that said the quiet parts out loud. He showed that vulnerability could be its own kind of flex, and that melodies could carry truths teenagers didn't know how to say any other way. As a kid in the south suburbs, Gerard Higgins learned to turn feelings into music. As Juice WRLD, he learned how to turn that music into a mirror. Chicago shaped him, friends like Herbo and Lil Bibby amplified him, the studio became his confessional, and songs like All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dreams made him a phenomenon. But the demons he documented were real, and in the end, they took him. The legacy he leaves is twofold: the soundtrack that helped millions feel less alone, and the caution that the coping mechanisms we romanticize can kill the very people whose pain we celebrate.